ridiculous. So if we want an industry that's successful for women and for men, for all of us, it needs to be triple bottom line: people, profit, planet. And some of the most important people are the kids. Yeah, you know what? I dropped out of being an executive chef. I'm a lunch lady now. I get up at 5 every morning and go to work and cook those 8,300 meals every day for these kids with a $1.50 food cost. Because they're the most important people we have, no matter what country you come from. We have to teach our kids about food. They're the next generation of employees, and they're the next generation of eaters, and they're the next generation. You know, as chefs, we're seen as the stewards of the food supply. We're looked up to. We're celebrities. It's all about we chef, right? You know what? We need to use that to our advantage. In America, 1 out of every 4 meals is eaten in fast food, and 1 out of every 4 in front of a TV or computer, and 1 out of every 4 in front of a car, in a car. What's left? Who's teaching children to sit at a table and eat the food we cook? You know what? As chefs, that should scare you to death. Because if no children are going to sit and eat in a restaurant, we're all going to be serving some kind of plastic peanut butter from Mars. You know? It's up to us. We have to get out into the world. We have to think outside our box. We have to look at the world as it is today and think about what success could be. You know, what is it going to look like? What are our restaurants and our hotels and our industries going to look like in 10, 20 years? Well, what I think, my idea of success is, how about remembering what food is? How about teaching children what real broccoli tastes like or what real eggs taste like? How about teaching children that there's food beyond plastic stuff in containers with all this processing? That's not food. That's just stuff, you know? And it's up to us to teach children about food. Again, not only are they the next employees, but they're the next eaters. And we've had all this delicious food that's been made for us here. And in America, at least, kids are eating chicken nuggets and tater tots and canned food cocktail and chocolate milk. And that's lunch for kids in America. We have to teach our employees and our kids and our chefs and our sous chefs what farm fresh food really tastes like. What it means to eat something in its season when it really tastes good. We need to remind people that food really comes from the farms. We've forgotten that. We've started to believe that food comes from a grocery store or a big food company. But you know, it all starts on the farms. That's where food really comes from. And this idea that we can mass produce and mass produce and mass produce is crazy. In America, we just had a recall of 143 million pounds of beef. And after it was recalled, because the government realized it was no good, they also announced that 25% of it had already been eaten by kids in schools. That's crazy. That's crazy. As a world, we need to be ashamed of how that's happening. And as chefs, we're the ones who can make a difference. What I hope you all leave with today, after you're done listening to me rant at you, which I love to rant at people, but the one thing I would say is, while you're here for the next few days and as you're traveling home, is think about this and think, what's one thing I can do to make sure my employees and my kids or the next generation will know as much about food as I do? That needs to be the goal. We all know what fabulous food tastes like. We're chefs. We're all here because we fell in love with food, or at least I think that's why we're here. It's certainly why I'm here. I fell in love with food. Food saved my life. It gave me a reason for being, and I love it. And we need to teach that to students coming up, to our kids at home, to our chefs in our restaurants. We need to remind them all what something that's beautiful tastes like. That the peach, when it's ripe, tastes like a peach. It doesn't need anything else. That a perfectly ripe tomato could use salt, or if you want to get really fancy, olive oil. But food is that delicious, wonderful thing that brings us all together. And we need to give back and teach people about it. And as, you know, I'm 54 years old. I've been doing this since 1973. It's a lot of years. And I know that we all, and as I look around, there's a lot of us that are about my age, we need to get out of our kitchens. We need to turn them over to our sous chefs. We need to let the people that are coming up around us cook. We need to let them have ideas. We need to let them make the menus. We need to let them make mistakes. Because you know what? Until they make some of their own, and you know what? You got to let them make the small ones. They're never going to be able to take over for us. And I don't know about all of you, but I want to do new things. I want to do different things. I want to climb another mountain. I want to cook for more schools. I want to change the way every kid in America eats. There's a lot I want to do. But you need to move on. And you need to move on and let the sous chefs come up, and the next chefs come up, and the next cooks come up. And where are we going to find them? I go back to the beginning. We have to be inclusive. We have to find the best and the brightest. We have to go out and look for everyone. It has to be genderless, raceless, ethnicityless. It has to be just the best and the brightest. And that's what we need. And then we just need to remember, as we're all moving on and thinking about, you know, what's the one thing we could do, because that's what I'm going to just keep harping you on. What's the one thing you can do when you go home to make your restaurant or your home a better place for the people coming up, for women and people with minorities coming in, for kids coming up? And just do it. Just do one thing. Remember to taste everything. Remember to get everyone around you to taste everything. And remember to taste the joy of life, and that will be success for us all. Thank you very much. Oh, they took my mic away.
I only wish that Anne would be a little bit more excited, more passionate about what she's doing. But Anne, this was a great presentation. I really hope that many of you have a chance to think about that, because it is not a male-female issue what she was talking about when it comes to food. It's something that concerns all of us and should concern all of us. I do have a question for the audience. How many of you in the audience have women in the kitchen? Please raise your hands.
How many have women sous chefs? But there's some, that's good. But you all should have them.
Bravo.
Yeah?
Bravo. Bravo. I also want to thank all the sponsors that have been so far helping us to do all the things that we have been doing, and Unilever Food Solutions sponsoring the Women in WACS clearly have helped us to present to you some very exciting seminars, and this of course will continue. And again, just on behalf of the World Federation, I'd like to present you with a small little gift as a memento and our token of appreciation. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
And I would now like to invite Debbie Benedetti and Ann Cooper to chair the panel of the panelists that are assembled here, and invite everybody to ask any kind of question. Anything that was presented, anything that you think is relevant to the subject, please step forward and ask the question to any one of the panelists assembled here. And if Debbie and Ann, you got a microphone, Ann?
Yes,
yeah?
I have one.
Pardon?
I have one.
Yes.
I'm good.
No, you're the moderator.
I know I'm going to ask the question.
Okay. Go, to whom?
I'm going to go ahead and throw a question out to the panel, and that is that one of the crucial issues of women being successful in kitchens is an environment that allows women to thrive. Women don't want anything different. Women just want it to be equal and to be a place where they are welcomed. How do you find an environment where you can thrive, and what are you looking for in a kitchen?
Can you hear me? Oh, okay. I think anyone that's starting out should be looking, A, for a mentor, and B, an environment in which teaching is paramount and ongoing, regardless to who the chef is.
Right. Somebody else want to add to that?
I don't think when I started out as a chef 18 years ago, and today when I look back, I think we're constantly talking about the work environment in a kitchen. I think that there are not so many chefs, women chefs around the world, because we're constantly focusing on how hard it is, on how hard the work environment is, of how culinary proficient you need to be. But I don't think we're talking too much about how the platform that you get as a chef, you're not really only cooking. And what you get at the end of the day, besides creating and ameliorating and taking your philosophy forward, I think there's a lot more to what we do than just working in a hard kitchen. Right. Yeah.
Anybody else want to add to that? Okay. When you think about, and I'll bounce off of the idea of what it takes to be a chef, because we are really talking about women feeling comfortable and moving up the ladder and taking over the responsibility of a kitchen. Where do you learn leadership skill sets to lead a kitchen and to be able to guide it in the right way?
I think you learn it on the floor.